Check mark. I even downloaded that logo. Clip grab.
Okay.
Yeah, I did.
It was a long one. Yeah?
It was 40. Was it 47, 48 minutes? I listened to that.
Is it short?
It mustn't be in the show.
Him.
Yeah. Are you ready now?
Yeah.
And of course, thank you so much to all our viewers who are watching us live. This is www.techmate.tv. My name is Tony Raidu. Thank you for this time that you've just given us. We are live from the Harare International HICC, where we are giving you live proceedings from the MDC-T Extraordinary Congress that has been going on since morning. And of course, today and right now is already seen from the headline. We're so much excited to have the MDC-T spokesperson, Mr. Witness, who's joined with us right here as we react to what has been happening. Mr. Witness, thank you so much for giving us this time and joining us live right here.
Thank you so much. And greetings to your viewers. Let me just correct my title there. I am the spokesperson to the presidential campaign of Senator Douglas Mwonzora. The party still has its spokesperson. Senator Pokeni and Honorable Mashagada, whoever is still in the portfolio as of today.
Right. Thank you so much for that correction. So let's just dash quickly to the event that has just happened a few minutes back, under 30 minutes. We have just witnessed Madam Khupe coming here, trying to take away the ballot boxes, and she was nullifying the election and saying this election is a fraud and it has to be stopped. And she also went on, she had a press where she announced to Zimbabweans out there that officially Senator Douglas Mwonzora has been suspended or fired as the Secretary General, and she has nullified this whole process. Mr. Witness, your reaction to this, what does this mean, and what is the legal implication to this announcement?
Well, my reaction as the spokesperson or part of the Douglas Mwonzora campaign team is that of shock in the first instance, because you know we have seen this kind of thing happen at lower levels of party activity, but it was really not even in our purview, not even in our wildest thinking that a whole candidate for president of a party will attempt to actually grab ballots and bring the whole process of the Extraordinary Congress to a screeching halt in such a very clumsy, very unprocedural way. It's very unfortunate, and we are even shocked because it's very undemocratic. It's unprecedented. We really are short of words to describe it, even as of this moment. But our reaction to it is very simple. There is a background that informs how this Extraordinary Congress got to be held here today in the circumstances that it is getting held.
There seem to be issues with the ballot boxes since morning, or it's one of the issues as well that has forced the Congress to be postponed. I know there was a meeting towards this. Now it looks like we still have the issue of the ballot box, which has been pending. Was this issue at all clarified, case closed, and everyone was at par as far as this matter is concerned? Was this issue agreed?
This is the background that I am referring to, the background to do with the college, the voting college of the Extraordinary Congress of the MDC-T. The process starts with verification of the proper delegates. At the stage of the pronouncement of the Extraordinary Congress, we were supposed to have a ready and authentic and proper delegate list. But unfortunately we didn't have that, and that was because, you know, the there are two organs involved in actually having a proper voting college in the MDC. One is the organizing secretariat and the other is the Secretary General's office. The organizing secretariat's input is to actually update the record of members in their positions so that when that record is correct and is kept in the Secretary General's office, whatever needs to be done, the records are retrieved from the Secretary General's office and then aligned with the Constitution to see who make delegates and who do not make delegates. The organizing secretary is supposed to keep every information of membership in the positions that they hold, and then the Secretary General office to keep those records as the custodian. But when a pronouncement was made on this extraordinary Congress, the record on the whole was not complete. It was not properly constituted because it had been tampered with by the Secretary General, the organizing secretary, Khupe. This is what led to his dismissal from the party, to say he had included people that belonged to another party, he had included people that had left and joined another party, he had included people that had actually been part of the MDC Alliance Congress as late as 2019. They were never supposed to be in our list. How they ended there, it was everybody's guess. But this is how we got to this messed up voting college.
So
but
if we were to clarify, members of the MDC Alliance, those who were in the 2014 structures, today they are nowhere to be seen. They are not part of this EOC. All those members that were in the 2014 structures?
No, not all of them. Those that are in the MDC Alliance, we have not been expelled from the party. We have not officially resigned from the party, even though they belong to, because you see, when the judgment came, it actually collapsed people that were in the MDC Alliance and people that were in the MDC-T, as led by Dr. Khupe. This is how Senator Douglas Mwonzora, Senator Konichi also came to be part of this EOC, because those structures were collapsed into one. But we had a problem, a special problem, where you had people that did not actually belong to the MDC-T structures in 2014, who actually joined the party later, or who became part of the structures later, as late as 2019, being part of the MDC-T.
I'm talking about the people who were in the 2014 structures and they were aligned to MDC Alliance. Are those people part and parcel of this?
If they were aligned to the MDC Alliance before the Supreme Court judgment, and after the Supreme Court judgment, they did not align with the MDC Alliance, and they were not expelled from the party and they remained members of the party, they are here. But if after the Supreme Court judgment they made pronouncements to the effect that they belong to the MDC Alliance, they are no longer part of the MDC-T, they were not supposed to be here. This is where the difference is. So we had people that had made pronouncements that they no longer belong to MDC-T, but who were in the 2014 structures. They were found in that voters' roll. They were not supposed to be there. Then we had people that had never actually belonged to the 2014 structures, but had been, smuggled into the MDC-T structures. Yet they actually got into those structures through the MDC Alliance 2019 Congress.
How many people were there in the 2014 structures as far as the 2014 Extraordinary Congress? How many candidates, so to say, were there?
The 2014 Congress,
yes.
It was an ordinary, it was an extraordinary Congress, yes, because we had a Congress in 2011, which was supposed to take us to 2015, but because of the circumstances which led to the leaving of the likes of Tendai BT to form the renewal party, we had an extraordinary in 2014, and that extraordinary Congress had as many as 4,500 delegates. This is the extraordinary Congress that had...
right, so that's my point of the question. 4,500 delegates were there in the last 2014 structures. If you had to give a rough estimate, how many members are here today in the 2020 Extraordinary Congress?
Well, I will not attempt to give a rough estimate because of the circumstances under which this Congress is taking place. You recall that when people came into the auditorium, they were coming in the batches of 100. So it would be difficult for me to have had a proper estimation. That is out.
How many have registered and have responded to coming to this special EOC?
That information.
According to your box, at least how many people are supposed to be voting, so to say? We should have at least the total number of voters expected for this one.
That number is deriving from the 4,500 or so. That's
2014, but
yes.
for this one, because obviously we had those that were chucked away because of the MDC alliance, those that went away with BT, and those that then went away with other splitters. So how many have confirmed coming here? Because we did a head count. If you can substantiate that to move on, we did a head count, and I think we did around, in the morning, everyone was in here. We did around 750 delegates were here. Are you in agreement with that figure? Because we tried to do a quick head count of 750 delegates.
I will not agree to that figure. I will not agree to any figure that you give me for this reason. That I can tell you for a fact, delegates that voted first, because of the COVID pandemic and the regulations that had been set, as soon as they voted, they left the venue. And while they left the venue, some of the delegates were still on their way here. And some of the delegates who were supposed to vote here did not necessarily see the need to come into the auditorium, because there was nothing else to do in the auditorium except voting. So delegates deliberately decided to be elsewhere except during the time that they are voting. So for anybody to want to speculate about exactly how many people came here, it will be really very,
where
misleading.
do we get the fine?
You will get that from the final tally of the votes. When the votes are authenticated and the results come out, this is when you can add out to say if so and so got so much votes and the other candidates got so much votes. That means the total number of votes cast is this, which is exactly what would have turned out here.
Okay, so moving on to what has just happened a few minutes back. Madam Khupe has officially made a press statement that she has fired Douglas Mwonzora from the post as Secretary General, and she has nullified this whole election, and she says, I, as the acting president, with the power vested in me, I have nullified this whole process. But as you can all see, we are still here live, happening to our viewers. The process is still ongoing. I need to understand what is the legal and the political implication of such a statement.
Well, there is no legal implication that can be derived from a statement which can bind the process that we are seeing unfolding here, for two reasons. The first is that as candidates, I was going to give you a background earlier on, and I'll still have to go back to it, because this is where the whole context of her declaration comes from. And if you don't understand the background, where it comes from, you may not properly put it into context as to how misplaced it is at the moment that we are seeing it coming from her camp. But basically, the Extraordinary Congress was supposed to be held, let's ignore the other times that it was supposed to be held at. It was supposed to be held on the 18th of December, but it was moved forward because candidates felt that they were not satisfied with the voters' roll, with the voting college, because of the reasons that I gave you, that the SG, as the custodian of all records of the party, had in his custody a document that was incomplete, a document that to me looked like it was just the notes of the former organizing secretary. And because of that, actually it had claimed the organizing secretary as a victim, leading to his expulsion. But then this is the document that the Secretary General had in his office, and when he was asked to produce that document, he did not even attempt to defend it. He laid the document bare, everybody criticized it, and the party, through the National Council, set straight after that to chart a way forward, to give a roadmap on how to clean that voters' roll and the timeline involved. Because now the most important deadline that the party was now chasing is the 31st of December, which is the deadline of the that was given by the Supreme Court, yes, relating to this EOC. So the timeline was given, and the steps to be taken were prescribed clearly by the National Council. One, the organs of the party that were required to start the process were the Director of Elections, Kandi Mtsingwali being the head in that department, and the organizing secretary acting now because of the expulsion of Pepe, who is Gift Chinmanikire. And those two now were then supposed to work with representatives from the candidates, two from each candidate who had been nominated by National Council to be the candidates in the final EOC. So in the first place, it was 8 people representing 4 candidates and these 2 heads of department. And their output was then supposed to be enriched by the provinces. In fact, the provinces were given powers to have the final say over the outcome that will come from this body that was set. Then the provinces were then supposed to look at that at a provincial level and then give a feedback to this body. Then when this body has produced what it feels is the final product, then the provinces also were required to travel to harvest house and then append their signatures to the approval of the final product, which all happened. After that had been done, after the representative of candidates had done that, after provinces had come and authenticated the list, the candidates themselves were further asked to sign a code of conduct relating to the elections, that a code of conduct they will be bound by, and also the terms of reference of the body to run the elections. They were supposed to sign into that to agree to those terms of references. And those terms of references specifically prescribed that when the EOC, the date of the EOC has come and an election is going on, all the 4 persons involved in the election as candidates, they cease to hold any power and any authority over the election, and the electoral body has complete control of the elections, and it is the only one that has the power and the authority to make any pronunciations relating to this election. And the terms of reference also involved the channels that were available to the candidates in terms of raising any queries they may have during the election. So what then happened today is that the electoral body was conducting its business as usual, and I don't know how this is supposed to be read by anybody, but leaving the auditorium and coming back to want to grab votes from the tables where they are positioned is hardly a way that can be anything close to a prescribed way of saying anything about the elections that somebody is not happy with. That was not a complaint. That was not supposed to be registered as a complaint to the EOC. It was clearly a violation of the rules. And security, which was alert, because these things were planned before and the information was available that there was going to be an attempt to breach the election. They quickly moved in, secured the ballot, and they escorted the gentlemen that were assisting the former acting vice president, out of the auditorium. In fact, one of the things that actually would have triggered this is that the acting president, the former acting president, I say former because as of today when the election is being held, she really didn't have that portfolio to herself. She had ordinary security that she has on a daily basis, but when she left the auditorium and came back with around 30 youth, those youth, most of them, at least those that I identified, are from Bulawayo, and they had been delegates in this election. And so the problem with the security, with those people coming back into the auditorium, even if they were now, masquerading as the security detail, was that they had been in the auditorium as delegates. So the rules of the day were that if a delegate has voted, they are supposed to vacate the auditorium and not to come back because of the 100 per session rule, and because generally of the need to secure the ballot and to have a smooth election. So when those people came back into the auditorium, they were now foreign elements because they had voted. They were interested parties. They were not supposed to be in the auditorium. So when they were ejected, the former acting president tried to then use her leverage to then bring them back, and which then created those tense situations between the security and herself, because whilst they wanted to observe her influence and her her input into everything MDC, they could really not be moved into a situation of breaking the rules that they clearly knew that if somebody has voted, they are supposed to leave the auditorium. The ordinary aides that she has and the election agents were allowed, and they were always going to be allowed in the voting area. But these other ones were not going to be allowed, and this is what actually stayed. And it then came as a surprise that she then suspends the Secretary General, again breaking an age-old tradition in the MDC. In fact, generally in the MDC, when there's an election, a Congress, suspensions are actually suspended. What is suspended are suspensions of any member, because it is known that people are bound to be mischievous and start suspending another to eliminate them from any political race. So we generally do not suspend each other, unless maybe it's a very extreme case of gross violation of the Constitution. But generally, suspensions do not apply. But alas, we hear that the former acting president on herself and by herself has suspended the Secretary General, not just the Secretary General, but a fellow candidate.
She does not hold that power anymore.
As of today, she did not hold that power. As of today, morally and legally, she did not hold that power. And if she really had been sincere in the success of this election, she would have known that whatever objection about this election she had, it had to be channeled through the proper channels. The terms of references that they signed as candidates provided for that. In any case, if she was going to take the legal route, she would have had that option, even if she had allowed for the election to...
What were the reasons, as far as you have noticed? What were the reasons? Why is she nullifying this election?
She's raising, she's casting aspersions on the voters' roll, like I'm saying, that she feels, in her words, as she was shouting here, there was actually a mouthful that she said for one to actually make a string of exactly the gist of her complaints. But one of the things that she said is that there is a massive rigging going on. How can there be massive rigging when the voters' roll that was used, or that is being used currently, is the one that was agreed upon after following, almost religiously the process that was prescribed by the National Council? I've described it to you, and this is the process that was followed, and they signed.
Felt the same as well.
And the commission. Comich is also a candidate.
Why is those two they share the same sentiments?
To us, we believe that it's a case of not taking, the possible outcomes of this election in a sportsmanlike way. There was something that was happening here earlier on when candidates were introduced. It was very clear earlier on which candidate is popular and is most likely to take the vote if the mood of the Congress is anything to go by. And we still feel that it was rather irresponsible for the former acting president and the chairperson to have acted in the way they did, because we are not aware of any objections that they raised to the electoral body. We are not aware of anything official.
So do you agree, judging from the sentiments or the mood of the people, because it looks like from what we've also gathered that this is almost a decided election, or the people are almost very clear of the next possible outcome, that Mwonzora is likely won this by wide margin. Do you agree to that sentiment?
I agree to that. I would not have wanted to say that in the midst of an election, because you want to respect other candidates.
Unfortunately, because of power and time, we'll have to continue this conversation sometime soon. To all our viewers, we'll be back in the next few minutes. We are taking a short break, but it's goodbye for now. We'll be back.
Extremely attentive to what I'm going to say. So we started talking, myself and Dube Angel, we started talking. And as we started talking, he was asking me about the ministry, the exposure and everything. So what are you doing now? You have not been broadcasting for some time. And I told him I'm busy building my studio right now. That is why I am not broadcasting that much as much as I used to. So in the process, we started talking about evidence. We started talking about evidence, and he was asking me, I remember the last time you were exposing evidence. What happened? Are you done with him? Are you done with them? Then I said, no. I'm not yet done, but there's just things that I'm just trying to verify before I can, even go ahead with the exposure, which is something that I'm not considering, because now I am looking at focusing mainly on the online ministry that I'm going to be launching. Now, in the next few minutes, there's an audio that I'm going to play for you. An audio that I'm going to play for you, which is a conversation between myself and Dube Angel, a conversation that we had. And in that conversation, you're going to take note of certain things that are very key. I had decided to build my studio and now focus on preaching and focus on the online ministry, taking the Back to Christ movement to all the ends of the world, just as I have been saying over these past months. But when I started talking to Dube Angel, who happens to be Emmanuel Makandiwa's brother or /friend, brother/friend or whatever, I don't know. So when we started talking, he said to me, he has got information on Emmanuel Makandiwa. He has got information on Makandiwa that he would like to share with me so that I may go and share with the public to let people know the real Makandiwa and who really he is, because according to him, he is a very cunning man. He's a cunning man who comes out to the public, portrays a different image, yet behind the scenes, he is not what he portrays to be. Now, this is according to Dube Angel. So in the conversation I'm going to play, an audio I'm going to play, you're going to get to hear a lot of things that he mentioned in that conversation that I had with him. Now I want you to take note of the fact that I had clearly stopped with the exposure and everything, and I was now focusing on building a studio so that I may establish the online ministry. Up until Dube Angel came into the picture, and he was giving information about Emmanuel Makandiwa. Now, before I go deeper and deeper into explaining a lot of things, I just want you to take some time. This is an audio, this is a recording that was recorded. It was a video call conversation that we had using one of his son's phone. The same son who reached out to me at first, wanting me to talk to Dube Angel and stuff like that, is the same son whose phone I was using at the time. We're talking on a video call, and the phone call was recorded. Yeah, the phone call was recorded, and I recorded the conversation that we had on that particular day. So you're going to listen to this conversation, and then after you listen to the conversation, you'll come back. After we come back together, I'm going to explain further how we got to where we are today and answer all the questions that are surrounding all these things that are happening online at the present moment. So wherever you are, just sit back. I want you to listen to this audio. Listen very well. And this is Dube Angel talking about Emmanuel Makandiwa, the supposed friend, brother, or whatever. I don't know how they relate, but this is him talking to me and giving me information that I'm supposed to come and expose about Emmanuel Makandiwa. So just go through the audio, go through it, listen to it, and then when you're done, come back. Then we'll continue.
Chari akatoshinga kundiata akadobva nangomsiya akadaro zvakundobva nazoti right uyakuno. Ndakazongomubudisira nyaya dzake kusvikira angodisappear paFacebook. Aiwa, no. Ndakazongoretaliate zvangu paFacebook because I had nothing against Chari. Chari angatori face wangu taitotaura. I think waperura nedata deal.
Should be. Let me check. Internet access post. Let me just click data.
Ndio. Mkuru wenyu na Makandiwa wandakare.
Yeah, mira ndise data bank.
Chimbozi kumunzara ndidombozo it's not here.
Zinokuti utakanadaro.
Azingapinduri.
Azimboipindure nyaya iyoyo.
Adiripo. Nderichi. Nderipawa.
Dari kati ngokuisa pavideo koubvunza. Kuti dhara ivi yaingira vakati vayakabukira sivo yazotsara kurai.
Era udzibvunza.
So you went on video and attacked back or what?
Yeah, ndakamuataka bheki ndikavasanganisa vese nababa vake baba. Mati? Aiwa, handisandaenda live kapapa. I think it's been a month now in some weeks. Pandiri kutongoenda live ndikutanga navo ivavo because nditori nenyaya yavo yandisandapedza nayo. Ndapedza then hande ndapedza zvangu ndenda kuchiparidza ndenda kuuya kwamuri ndenda kuuya kwamuri ndichiti papa ndiri kumbirawo semoni. Aiwa, I think mari yekuside uko handide zvangu. Aiwa, uko handide. Because ndikakolekta mari yekuside uko ndenda betray vanhu vakawanda stereki vari kumudawo kuti murume iye. Ndenda tobetray vanhu vakawanda vanenge vakatoisawo mahopes avo mandiri kuti ndichatovabatsira kuti titoachiva something. Because vanenge vakawanda vanhu vari kuchema. All right. Musadaro. Aiwa, iyoyo manje. Iroro ndodemo manje iroro. Ndikipade muna vafoniya. And the call on hold. Still on hold.
Naingia wena makuwa boy.
I think cut. Yeah, they took us a cut. I don't connect interconnections on that.
So I got to know that.
Yeah, no, I can't as a cut.
Kana ndazakata. Painongo connect inongotangira kuyabwe. Iroro idemo manje baba iroro idemo manje iroro. Mzada.
Aiwa, kutiziko. Mina rinomziva kamina.
Mina rinomziva.
Ya usabata mina tusabata nena da. Mina rakafana niwe fungwa zake. Yeah, rakafana niwe stop. Don't even get involved with Mena.
Okay.
But Mena think yakatopotela nemo yacho sanjangu kuona way.
Ipapo muka.
Sachinopadara kudai. Misaiko.
Ipapo mukatondipa ndimubate Menat. Ndinongodzibuditsawo mubuditsiro wanenge ndida kudzipa.
Aiwa, kana Menat can actually be close to you.
Nice. Mukatoti nditaure naMenat kana atori nenhingi, it's fine.
All right. It's fine. All right, son.
Varatorongerwa conspiracy papa, it is serious. Saka 7 baby, the two akadzi.
Ni makandio.
Makandio. Kebab Productions. Tukufamba.
Ngazofona ni.
Masango matema kebaki. But I'm hoping kuti after by end of day today, no, pane zvinenge zvaitika tinenge tapari right. Hateta paripo.
So welcome back. Welcome back. Just so you are, maybe you are just joining us for the very first time. My name is Jay Israel. I'm sure you already know. And this is probably my last broadcast that I'm going to be doing in this year 2020. And I just want to put everything on record and also set the record straight and bring out the truth about all these things that are circulating online and all the assumptions that have been made by people. A lot of people have called me a scammer, extortioner, extortionist, or whatever words they have come up with. But look, it is very important for me to note that ever since I started doing what I'm doing, I don't remember a single day that I ever did it for money. I don't remember a single day that I ever approached anyone asking for money. Going back to the conversation that you just had, I'm sure you can hear my voice clearly in the conversation where I'm saying I'm not going to accept any amount of money for me to stop this exposure. Because if I accept any amount of money, I will have betrayed hundreds of people, if not thousands or millions of people, who have put their hopes in me for all this wickedness to be exposed and to be brought out to the public. As I'm speaking all this and as I'm saying all this, I don't declare myself a saint. I don't declare myself a perfect person, but I'm still a work in progress. And as I've just turned 28, just a few days ago, celebrated my birthday at 28, I consider myself a blessed young man. Because young men my age are probably out there doing different things, but I decided to commit myself to the work of God. With my shortfalls, with my shortcomings, with my mistakes and my flaws, I believe that one day I'm going to get there. But going back to the audio that you listened, that's the conversation that I had between myself and Dube Angel. And you can clearly hear he was telling me that this man, Emmanuel Makandiwa, has got two wives that are confirmed. And he goes on to say he also has 7 girlfriends. Now, the 7 girlfriend part is not something that is said audibly with his mouth because it was on a video call. So he just put the phone down and he said, he just gave me the sign 7. And he said, these are the number of people, the number of girlfriends that he has. I'm sure you can hear at the end of the call, I was telling the people that I was with that, hey, he was just telling me that Emmanuel Makandiwa has got 7 girlfriends. I was also shocked because knowing Emmanuel Makandiwa from YouTube, Facebook, everywhere from Zimbabwe, he's not somebody that I've ever had any issues surrounding women. Even some of the people from his church were calling me to give me information that they wanted me to expose. The more I would ask them about women and stuff, they would clearly state that when it comes to women, the man is clean. When it comes to women, the man is clean. He doesn't do women at all. So when it came from Dube Angel, I'm sure you can also hear from the same conversation that he clearly said he's the only person who knows about this. And this is a credible source. This is not somebody who's claiming to be a friend or claiming to be a brother. This is a friendship that is known in the public. This is a brotherhood that is known in the public. So he clearly stated that he's the only one who knows. So this was a credible source. I took the information and then he said to me he's going to give me somebody to talk to who's going to give me the full details of what exactly it is all about. And in the process, I understand that there was also a girl, one of the girlfriends from Gweru, that he kept on pestering and pushing to say, as you start exposing, don't forget to mention the issue of Gweru. Don't forget to mention the issue of Gweru. I don't know what for, but look, I'm not saying all this to cause confusion or anything, but I'm just saying this to bring enlightenment to the people that during this whole situation, as this whole thing was going round and doing circles, I became a victim in the process because my assignment was to take information and bring it to the public. Just to receive information from people who say that this is what so-and-so is doing and this is wickedness. Go ahead and talk about it. That was my assignment. So when I now sat down, after everything was done and he gave me somebody to talk to, but I was not comfortable talking to other people. Hence, I started talking to the brother, you know, somebody that I've also known from Zimbabwe. We've known each other over the years. I started talking to the brother, and as I was talking to the brother, there's things that he mentioned that when I finally sat down with Blessing Mashangwa, when she was explaining to me in that footage that you saw, when she was telling me that she's going to speak about the issue of the second wife, of herself being the second wife, and you know, other things and stuff and everything that she spoke about. But in the process, you know, you can hear in the video, you can hear her saying that, but you know that this is a lie. That's when I realized that, okay, so this is a plot. This is a plot, and this is not something that is factual and real. There's no reality in what this person is planning to go and speak. That's when I was awakened to the fact that this is a plot. Little did I know that already the information that Blessing was giving to me, it was directly compatible with the information that I was getting from UK, from Dube Angel's side, about the second wife and everything. So to me, I was sitting there in my head thinking that, okay, so this is the second wife that Dube Angel is talking about. And I'm under the impression that these people already are in talking terms because of the kind of information that is so similar, you know. So I'm under that impression, and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking that, okay, probably they know something that I don't know, but when it came out that this is a plot, you know, it shook me at the same time, but I just had to compose myself and just sit there, sit still and just keep on listening, because what I do is to listen. Listening is what I do. I just listen. Nothing else, I just listen. No matter what happens, I listen. If somebody comes to me, they say, I want to talk about this, I want to talk about this, I listen. And in my listening, I can never be against whoever is bringing information to me. We will always be in agreement. But the execution part is what determines whether we are really in agreement or we are not in agreement. I don't know if I'm making myself clear right there. So just so we know that we are moving together and we are going along together. So coming to the flopped broadcast that I was going to do, you know, already on that broadcast, I knew that there was a problem already. That is why the broadcast was not even that long, because already I picked it up that there is a problem somewhere. And some of the information that I might allow to be released on my platform, it might get back to me again tomorrow, considering the kind of information that I've already had and gathered, you know, and according to my own analysis that I've made as a person, you know. It is, I believe it's very important for me to clarify certain things, you know, as I move forward with this broadcast. I'm not here to